All right, everyone. I'm Crystal Arnold, and I'd like to welcome you to How to Run a Virtual Offers and Needs Market. And this is brought to you by the Post-Growth Institute, and we are a nonprofit headquartered here in Ashland, Oregon. And today is April 2nd, 2020. I have a quote from Rudolf Steiner that he wrote in the midst of the Great War around 1917, when there was social chaos everywhere. And I bring it to us today. Rudolf Steiner said, "The healthy social life is found when in the mirror of each individual soul, the whole community finds its strength, its reflection, and when in the community, the strength of each one is living." We are so excited to have you join us here today for this training. I'd like to introduce my colleague, Donnie McClurkin. He's the Executive Director of the Post-Growth Institute and creator of the Offers and Needs Market process in 2011. Donnie is so passionate about community development, and he's worked on over 500 not-for-profit projects in more than 30 countries. Most recently, introducing the Offers and Needs Market to the Middle East. Donnie's facilitation draws on training in asset-based community development and his lifelong fascination with improvisational theater. Welcome, Donnie.
Thanks, Crystal. So glad to be here with you and everyone else from around the world. I'd like to introduce Crystal to you. My colleague, Crystal Arnold, holds a degree in international economics from Southern Oregon University. She spent more than a decade facilitating events that strengthen local economies. Crystal's podcast, Money Wise Women, has featured more than 100 prominent women from around the world on topics ranging from mutual aid networks, African American cooperatives, and the caring economy. Crystal has been facilitating the Offers and Needs Market since 2017 as Director of Education at the Post-Growth Institute.
Thanks, Donnie. So I'd like to invite us all to just take a big, full, deep breath right now. Just really coming into our hearts and into this present moment. If you need to turn off any distractions, do so now. I'd also like to acknowledge the difficult feelings that many of us are experiencing, probably with the situation in the world and the coronavirus pandemic. Just acknowledging that grief, anxiety, and sense of loss that so many of us are experiencing here today, just giving voice to that. And I also would like to do a territorial acknowledgement. Even though we're meeting virtually, take a moment to acknowledge the land which you are on, the native stewards of that land, which was likely taken from them. And here in Oregon, where Donnie and I are today, it's the land of the Tequilma and Shasta people. And we recognize the many other bands that call this Klamath Basin region home. Taking a deep breath and gratitude for this land. So I'd like to just give you just a brief orientation to Zoom. If you have anything you'd like to share in the chat, you can find that on the bottom of your screen. There's a bar there with a chat icon you can click on. We also have a Q&A icon down there that you can ask questions through as well throughout the presentation. And so when you're chatting, you can chat to everyone, or you can just privately chat to an individual if you would like. So that's what you need to know about Zoom. Oh, also you can toggle your view in the upper right. There is speaker view where you just see the one person speaking, or you can have it in gallery mode where you can see more than one person. So that is your introduction to Zoom. Donnie.
We'd also like to make everyone welcome today by giving you an opportunity to put in the chat there where you're tuning in from. We've got people from all around the world joining us. I've already seen someone from Alaska. Welcome, Tyre. Robert in Adelaide. Where else are people tuning in from? Please just drop that in the chat to let us know. Welcome, Teresa in Ashland and other states there. Delighted to have you all joining us. Today's agenda, as we discover how to run a virtual offers and needs market for small groups, we're going to first be doing a little bit more housekeeping. Crystal's then going to introduce us to the offers and needs market process. We're then going to do a contracted demonstration of the offers and needs market with just 4 people. It's typically a process we do with 6 to 8 people in a group, and it can be adapted for much bigger groups. What you'll learn today is something that you can run with hundreds of people online using breakout rooms. But today we're going to be doing a smaller demonstration. And we're going to then recap the steps involved with running a virtual offers and needs market. We'll have some question and answers at the end if we have time. And we'll actually have some segments throughout where there'll be a chance for Q&A as well. At the end, we're going to actually do some surveying to get some feedback to improve this process. And stay tuned because we'll be announcing a prize winner at the end for further training with us. We're going to be doing a draw based on survey participation near the end. So Crystal, if you just put that agenda into the chat so everyone can see where we're going today. And with that note, onto the housekeeping. You may want to have, if you didn't receive the document in the Zoom reminder with the downloadable document that we're going to be using today, then you probably want to have a piece of paper and pen handy. In fact, 2 pieces of paper. Those will be important for the exercise that we're going to be running. And also to let you know that we are recording this call. So when we ask for the 4 participants for our demonstration, we're just letting everyone know that they're going to be on camera recording. We're going to use that just for marketing purposes in terms of taking some of the footage. None of the audio or any of the particulars that are shared will be used by us for marketing. It's more just so we can get some footage of running a virtual offers and needs market for our training. Great, back to you, Crystal, to introduce us to the offers and needs market and its relevance in this time.
Great. So the offers and needs market is a process which can be run both in person and virtually, designed to really unearth the passion, knowledge, skills, and talents within our communities. And so we feel like it is such a timely offering for community organizers to really be able to bring out the best in their communities. I know that there's a lot of social tension arising now, given a lot of stay-at-home orders, a lot of unemployment, people really wondering how they're going to meet their own needs, and also desiring to help their neighbors as well. And so we really see the value of having a clear, inclusive and structured process that we're sharing with you here today that really is going to benefit people in communities and is more relevant than ever, because the world needs people like all of you who care so much about bringing people, meeting people's needs, and really even in challenging times. And so we have, yes, what else to say about this? Yeah, it's really drawn on a lot of work throughout the years. I've been very interested for over a decade in complementary currency, local exchange trading systems, things like time banks, but they have had limited reach, and frankly, a lot of it is because there wasn't a dire need for them. And now the time is ripe for people to come together. We're seeing a huge upswelling of mutual aid projects here in the Rogue Valley, beyond, across the US and around the world. People are looking at innovative ways to really share with their neighbors. So it's in that spirit that we offer you this here today. Donnie.
Great, thank you, Crystal. Just a hat tip to one of my mentors who's joining us here today, Dee Brooks. A lot of this work builds on asset-based community development. If you're not familiar with that, I'll just ask Crystal to type those words in, or Dee, you could throw them in the chat there as well. Asset-based community development, building on the strengths that we have, starting with what we've got in order to strengthen our communities, and then to move into spaces of exploring what we don't have from that strength. So today we're going to, for those who joined us just in the last few minutes, we're about to start our demonstration of a small group virtual offers and needs market. We're going to have 4 people volunteering to jump on in that process with us all. And our objective, quite clearly, is for you to leave this training with both the sense of how this runs, with a guide for how to do it, and all the materials that you need. We'll be sending those through as a follow-up through the email. But we're hoping that you could walk away from this and in a few hours' time, if needs be, organize a virtual offers and needs market with your community. Another tool to put into your facilitator toolkit if that's the kind of thing that you do, or if you're a community organizer. We're really trying to share something today that is very accessible no matter what your facilitation background or experience. It's straightforward. It's something that anyone can do with their neighbors, with their community, with groups, with their workplaces, virtually. And as time goes on and we are able to return from our physical distancing, this is an opportunity to also do something in person for those who are looking to take this in that direction. So we thought, given the physical distancing that's happening right now, and that for those who are celebrating their birthday in the month of April, it may not be the kind of birthday you had planned when this year began. We were thinking that we would give first opportunity for anyone who's celebrating a birthday this month, who would like to participate in the demonstration of the offers and needs market. If you would just put your name in the chat there for us, and we're asking for the name just in case your profile doesn't have your name written in. Okay, so we have there, let me just see whose name that is. Jamie, whose birthday it is, Linnea, and I'm just trying to see the name there, Oliver, and we're looking for one more person in April. Is anyone else celebrating a birthday in April? If not, perhaps May. Do we have anyone upcoming in May or in the last few days in March? I'm just going to write up a speaking order here. Oh, there we go. Kalia, and apologies if I'm misspelling that. So Kalia. All right, so we have a
Kayala is his name.
Kayala, thanks Kayala. Speaking order here. Great, and Crystal's just going to be getting those people set up with their video. And
so who are the 4? We have Jamie, Ollie.
Yes, we have Jamie, Oliver,
Kayala, and Linnea.
Kayla and Linnea. Yes.
So we are hoping for you 4 here that you will be able to share on audio and video in just a few minutes here.
Great. And what I'm going to ask, and this is a bit of an experiment, is if Jamie, if you could go to your profile picture and right-click, and what you're going to do is we're going to put numbers in front of everyone's names here. So Jamie, you're going to right-click on your profile, and it should give you the opportunity to rename. And you're going to put a number 1 in front of your name. Oliver, you're going to do the same thing and put number 2. Kayala, you're going to do number 3. And Linnea, you're going to do number 4. So again, you just right-click on your profile. And this is just our first little technique tip we can share. Just pause for a moment and tell others on the call here. This is a great way to get a speaking order set up in a group. Especially if you have a large group and you want to have rounds, it's a nice way to get that numbering. So Jamie, if you're able to put a 1 in front of your name, and if not, no problems, we've got the others in there. That will describe the order that we're going through as we go. Great. So for our agenda here, we're going to, and no problems, Jamie, if you're not able to put a number in. Not
We had a quick question here, Donnie, too, about what's the difference between this time banking or a mutual aid project. Would you like to speak to
yeah,
that?
great question. So you're going to get to see this today in terms of the number of things that get to be shared in a very rapid time is a lot larger than some of the processes you might have seen. It's face-to-face. We also have qualifiers that we can put on our offers and needs, and we're going to walk you through that as we go. In fact, there's 12 design secrets that sit underneath the offers and needs market that distinguish it. But in reality, we've actually drawn on a lot of local exchange trading system secrets, time banking, alternative currencies. We've taken what we explored as the best parts of those and sort of mashed them up here over the last 10 years in refining this process. So let's give it a go and see how it works for everyone. The way that we're going to do this for our 4 participants here, and Jamie, we're probably going to need you on video if possible. And if that's not possible, we'll just make sure that we can get you on audio. And if that's not possible, we can move to chat as well. What we're going to do first is we're going to walk you through the offers and needs market template, which is a design that we've got set up for us. Then you're going to have a chance to silently reflect on what offers you'd like to share with each other as strangers, and we'll guide you through that process as well. Crystal, if you could just drop this agenda in the chat there so everyone can follow along. We'll explain how we're going to run the process of sharing offers. We're going to then explain and experience the networking aspect of this. And then we'll repeat the process for needs. And at the end, we're going to match. We'll see if there's time. We'll see what matches might have come up for people just to demonstrate the process. So that's our overview. We're going to guide you through every step of the process, explaining things as we go. And we'll make sure that we have time for questions at every single step. So everyone's on board and clear as to what we're doing. On that note, are there any initial questions from the 4 individuals here? If you just put them in the chat, or in fact, feel free to turn on your video. Like I said, we'll be walking you through things, but any initial questions that you have, let's actually do that via audio for any of the 4 people who are joining us. Any questions that you have? Great. And you'll see I paused for a few seconds there, and that's the second little thing we wanted to share as a technique that's important, especially when you're dealing with groups, whether it's online or in person. We know that people with more introverted tendencies take time to digest questions, information, and to put a question out there and to just give it 1 second really doesn't give those with more introverted tendencies the chance to actually reflect and see, do I have a question? So you'll hear throughout this, Crystal and I today will take time. Every time we ask a question of the group, we'll pause and we'll wait and we'll see if there's a question that comes up. And it's amazing how often after about 4 or 5 seconds, a question will surface that otherwise might have been lost in a group. All right. For those who are not involved in this experiment here with us, the demonstration, don't fret, you're involved in a broader way. I'm going to now try, in fact, to share a document. Let's see. And if not, I might just share the link to the document. So let me just pull that up here. Alrighty. So we'll see if we can share the link. And in fact, that's one little one that I forgot to get ready. So just 1 second here, folks. This is the document that we sent out in the Zoom chat in advance, the reminder. But here is the link location. And what I'm going to ask you to do is just, if you can, download that document that's in the chat. Oh, whoops, I might not have sent it to everyone. Here we go, resending there. So if you would just try to download that link. And if you aren't able to download a link right now or having any problems, just grab your piece of paper. And what we're going to do here, and I'm going to share in just a second the document, is you're going to draw up an offers and needs template for your sharing. So just give everyone just a couple more seconds there. Crystal, if you want to just check in the Q&A to see if we've got anything that's coming up at this point that's challenging for anyone. So I'm going to share my screen here, and you should be able to see. Here we go. All right. So you see here on the offers and needs sheet, and if you've got your paper nearby with a pen, you want to draw 3 columns. We're just going to be starting with the offers section at first, and you can ignore this text that's underneath it, the examples. You're going to draw 3 columns. The first one is going to say at the top you want to write offer, in the second column availability, and the third column cost. If you've got the doc that you downloaded, if you're able to do that, you're going to be able to just type your answers straight into the document. And those not involved in the demonstration, we encourage you to also fill this document in, because it's actually going to give you some data that you can use to model the process if you're running it yourself with small groups after today. So for those of you who don't have the document in front of you, but you're looking at the screen here, just draw up that page with those 3 columns. Later on, we're going to do the needs section, so I'll bring that back up at that time. And in a second, you're going to have a moment to explore what it is you'd like to offer, what you, Kayala, Oliver, Linnea, and Jamie would like to offer each other as strangers coming together with good intention. And so let's just have a look at those 3 categories here, the 3 sections. The offers section is pretty straightforward, and I'll guide you through the kinds of offers in just a second. But again, as we sort of come back to what distinguishes this from other kinds of processes of mutual aid, you'll see we add these 2 columns, availability and cost. The first piece around availability, the options we recommend writing are anytime, sometimes, emergency, now, or a date in the future. So for example, we've got a virtual group of people here connecting that may not be in the same physical location, but you could be running this with people who are your neighbors. You might say, and I'm going to pick an example here that's listed, I'm offering to do shopping delivery. And I might then say, what's my availability to do that? And the reason that we add in this availability qualifier is because a lot of sharing platforms and processes, I think, set people up, especially when you're engaging with strangers in communities, set people up in a way that they might be a little tentative to share in terms of their offer being exploited or just being taken advantage of in some ways. So here you have the ability to say, how available is that offer? And if it's, for example, something that's virtual, you can just say the availability, but if it's something that's related to a physical place, you can actually then say the availability is now, and you can list the location associated with that availability. So you could add in a location piece there as well. The other piece is this cost part. And again, lots of people here, I'm sure, are coming with a background in gift economy, of perhaps exchanging with neighbors in a barter setup, and that's absolutely welcome here. We invite that kind of approach. But we also want to recognize that we need to pay bills. Unless any of us are living off-grid right now, the reality is we have daily costs. And so the offers and needs market distinguishes itself because it gives you the ability to include things that are for cost, for sale, professional services that you might like to offer, or other things that you'd like to put a price on. You can say an amount, a dollar amount, for example, a euro amount per hour. You can have a fixed cost for something you're offering. You can say, I would like to barter it, negotiate, or I'm offering it for free. In other words, the full spectrum is available here. And when we get to the actual offers market, we'll explain how you will share things in terms of those variables. So before we jump into just reflecting on what it is that you 4 folks would like to share with each other, I'll just give a few more examples of the kinds of things this can be. It really has no limit. Again, we're meeting virtually here, so you might want to think about things that could be appropriate to people elsewhere around the world. So the shopping delivery may or may not be appropriate. But again, for this demonstration, you might want to say, I'm offering shopping delivery in Sydney, Australia, in this neighborhood, for example, without realizing, without knowing that someone else on the call might have a family member who lives in your neighborhood, even if they themselves don't. So we never quite know exactly, even in a virtual space, who else is in the connecting space with us and the opportunities there. There might be services that you want to share. There might be, as you see there, knowledge that you have, a good plumber that you might introduce people. And here again, we're reminding people that this is primarily set up for communities that are connecting virtually, neighborhoods that are connecting virtually, where information is so helpful. I don't know if the society that commonly focuses on what we do professionally, for those of us in professional positions within a labor market, I'm not sure whether the society really considers the deep value that exists in terms of the knowledge that we can share with others. Like, for example, film recommendations, these sorts of things, or insights into a certain culture. So there's really no shortage of things, physical passions that you want to connect around, project ideas that you're offering to connect with others around. There's no shortage of the kinds of things here that you can offer with others. So in a second, I'm going to give you just a minute to reflect. And everyone else who's watching this as well, we ask you to consider filling in your sheet at home or your piece of paper that you've got in front of you. But before I do that, I'm going to just stop the share for a second so I can see the chat. Or in fact, I can jump to there we go. Here, I'm going to just pause the share. And just jump over to the chat, and in fact, let's just open up the voice for looks like we've got an extra person jumping in with us, Crystal. So we've got two Linneas. Welcome, Linnea. What an interesting opportunity with two people with the same name.
Mike is a part of the community that I work with, and I gave him my link to log in. So I think that's why that's happening.
Oh, great. So Mike, if you're able, if you can just change if you right click on your video and change your name to Mike. And if you can put the number 5 in front of your name, that will give us our speaking order. So let's open this up. Are there any questions from the 5 participants that we have here about how to fill in the offers template? Great. Thanks, everyone. So we're going to, Jamie was having some problems with his numbering, or with their numbering. So we're just going to just remind people if needs be. Jamie's number 1, Mike's going to be number 5 in the speaking order. So let's jump back to the template there. Just take 2 minutes now to reflect on what is it that with this crazy experiment here with a bunch of strangers from around the world, what is it that you would like to share with each other? In the process we'll guide you through in just a moment. Take a few minutes and put in 2 things that you'd like to share, and add in the availability and any cost, if any, that you would like to add to that. Take 2 minutes now, and if you've got any questions, just send a private message to Crystal for some prompting while I keep this template up here. And we'll circle back in 2 minutes to take you through to the next step. So for now, just fill the document in with 2 offers. We're not moving to the needs section right now. 2 offers, the availability and the cost for each. Just 1 more minute. And feel free to take yourself off mute here. Would any of the participants like more time? Great. All right, folks, we're going to demonstrate the process here. So Crystal and I are going to model how this works. And you'll notice there that with our 3 columns, they're quite specific. And here's another design secret in the offers and needs market. Whenever you get a group together, especially that doesn't know each other, and we move into sharing information, there can be a tendency to share a whole lot, to want to like pour out information to each other to let other people know, here's what I do, here's what I'm up to, etc. This is an opportunity to do things a little differently. So it's a very discreet process in terms of how we're going to share information with each other to keep it moving so that we can keep maximizing the number of offers that we're exposed to from each other. So here's how it goes. You're going to mention your name. You're going to be on audio and say your name, what you're offering, what the availability is, and what the cost, if any, is. It's literally those 3 things. And we keep the offer really short and brief. And then in the networking, people have a chance to ask questions in the private messaging between each other. If in a physical environment, we will do sometimes clarifications. But for today, we're going to skip that and just keep your offer really brief. So Crystal and I are going to model that. I'll start. I'm Donnie. I'm offering any nonprofit in the US information about the current tax and stimulus bill as it associates to grants that you might and loans you might be able to access. I'm offering that part-time and for up to 5-minute email exchanges for free, and then anything beyond that, half-an-hour sessions for $75 per hour.
And I'm Crystal, and I'm offering copy editing services part-time, and the price is negotiable.
Great. So you would have seen it's literally that short, and we move on. You're going to read, and we encourage you to read it from the sheet if needs be, as to help keep you focused. We'll be jumping in if it's going on too long. And once you've done, we're going to do one offer at a time. Once everyone's done one round, we move to the second round of your offers, and then we'll explain what comes after that. In a typical offers and needs market, these are unlimited. We've seen people do up to 10 offers in their round. If you don't have anything you'd like to share, you can say pass. It's probably not going to be relevant today, but that's how the offers market finishes, is when everyone says pass. All right, any questions before we jump straight into the process? Great, and we'll come back to the question we had there about chatting just at the end. Jamie, you're first cab off the rank.
Hello, I'm Jamie, and my first offer is a platform and community to share your sustainable development goals. It's the availability, just message it to me from 10 till 6 Australian Eastern Standard Time, and the cost for that is free.
Thanks, Jamie. This is the last time I'll jump in because I know Oliver's about to go. Just to highlight, we're going to do the networking piece after this, so you'll get to share how people contact you. But what you're wanting to do now as well is if you hear an offer that someone says that you might be interested in, write it down on that second piece of paper. I forgot to mention that piece. That's why we have a second piece of paper to record those offers that we're hearing we want to follow up with. All right, Oliver.
Sure. Hey everyone, my name is Ollie. I'm offering.
Just need a little more volume, sorry, Ollie.
Oh, sorry. Is that? Yep. My name is Ollie, and I'm offering translation and interpretation into Spanish and Portuguese from English a week in advance, but it could be any time, for a negotiable rate.
It was a little difficult to hear, but I'm pretty sure that Oliver said he was offering translation maybe, or a week in advance negotiable. I think, so if we have problems with audio, the trick is to just type it in the chat there, and we'll move on. So Ollie will put his in there, and Kiela.
All right. I'm offering coaching sessions on the theme of thriving in uncertain times, and I have a scheduling app where that can be scheduled, Calendly, and it's a sliding scale donation or barter, so it's flexible.
Linnea.
Hi, I'm Linnea. I'm offering yoga and mindfulness practice on a weekly basis, streaming online for donation.
Great. And Mike.
I hadn't really thought a whole lot in depth about this. But the only thing I can think of that off the top of my head is offering, whenever there's the occasion, Spanish translation, if we end up having that type of a scenario arise.
How available and at what cost, if any, Mike?
I'm not worried about cost.
And availability?
Oh, my goodness. I'm a retired individual, although I keep busy, with exception of now that we're dealing with COVID-19. With my grandchildren being, transporting them to and from school, and amongst other things, meetings here in the residence where I reside.
Gotcha, Mike. So,
Linnea,
sorry to jump in here, Mike, just so we can keep it moving. Would you say then the availability is just part-time, like contact me whenever?
part-time.
Great, thanks so much. We're just going to keep moving on there. So round 2, Jamie.
Conflict resolution exercises between you and your partner. Same availability, it's online between 10 and 6, and I do the first half hour for free.
Yep, Oliver.
Sure. So I'm offering language lessons in Spanish and Portuguese, sometimes for barter.
All right. My second offer is Gene Key's readings, which is it's basically an astrology reading, but it's with a certain approach, and same scheduling app and similar process of sliding scale. But there's a recommended $50 donation, but yeah, flexible.
I'm offering permaculture design and gardening tips and fresh time, all you can eat, anytime for free, except for when I'm sleeping.
Thanks, Linnea. Mike, did you have a second offer that you wanted to share? I know you.
No, not at this juncture.
Thanks, everyone. So just a couple of things to note. Really grateful for all your sharing there. You always have the ability to put things in the chat here to be sort of backing up with this. I'll share in a second some of the ways that people can be documenting these that can be helpful to this process. Obviously, in a small group, for those of you who are watching right now, you're not participating in this small group. When you're in a small group, it's a little easier sometimes with the screen to see the audio and the visual. Remembering sometimes these will be people you know, so some of the offers are going to be more physical, things that you can support with on more of a day-to-day hands-on basis, even in this time, whether it's dropping things off for people at certain places, that kind of thing. And it can include anything in the emotional support space as well. So sometimes just offering to be there to listen or to be an accountability buddy for someone can be a really powerful offer as well. The way that we do the networking typically, and it differs a little bit between the in-person offers and needs market and the virtual ones is that you have a number of options. So I'm going to share the first option here really is that you could be now going around one at a time if this was a group that knew each other or felt comfortable to do this, and anyone can share how they want to be contacted about their offer. So you could go around the same speaking order and hand out your phone number, email, whatever felt comfortable to you. You can also put that in the chat. You can also now, typically in an offers and needs market, we would have a moment to share with each other via private message. So you could follow up and say, oh, Linnea, really interested in your yoga offerings, for example, or Oliver, I really would love to follow up on the translation. Likewise, Mike, these sorts of things. So there's an opportunity there to put those in, and we welcome people doing that right now if you'd like to share your contact information. The other thing here to share with you all is that, I'm just going to share my screen here. The second sheet that, whoops, wrong one. The second sheet that, let me pull this up here, we will be sending out to everyone so that you can see this as well. This is like the document that you received. It's something that you would send out to participants when you have a little more time, and they could be filling this in as well as it goes. So they would be writing down, oh, I heard an offer, that was the availability, or I heard the name of the individual. That's why we repeat our names each round, especially if people don't have their name written into their profile. And when you're doing the networking, when people are mentioning their details, that's when you can be filling this document in. There's also opportunities to, and this is quite popular, especially among the mutual aid groups at the moment, to, let me just do a new share, here we go. And we'll be sending out this link to all of these materials and links to everyone afterwards. So you'll see here, we've created a template that you can, as a group, use to fill in so that you can put your collective offers and needs in here. So I could write my offer in here, for example, then I'm going to fill in my availability. Or I could literally just copy the data over, add in my name, add in how to contact me, and do the same for my needs a little later. And that way, this is a group private document. You can get everyone's emails and make sure that it's shared only with the group. We've set this up so it's a template when we send it out to you that you'll immediately make a copy of it. So you'll have private access to that according to the facilitator's ability to share it with everyone. So those are some of the ways that you can share your offers with each other. Any questions about the offers round before Crystal takes us into the needs section? I did remember we had a question actually about when people go into chatting. And so this is where your role as facilitators is so powerful. Setting up a good container where you're encouraging people to be brief, reminding them that we're wanting to get through as many offers as possible. There's a question there, how long do you give participants to brainstorm their offers? In the typical offers and needs market, we allow up to 5 minutes for that. And that usually gets people to 4 or 5 offers per person in terms of filling in. We usually do 3 rounds though, an offers round, then a needs round, and then a combined offers and needs round. Because often when you're hearing other people's offers, it's stimulating in you some ideas of things, oh, I never thought I could actually offer that myself. So giving people a little bit longer is good in that way in terms of rounds. And in terms of just keeping people on time, sometimes actually naming the time and saying it's a maximum of 20 seconds and giving people a chance to also encourage each other to move on. That's where the facilitator, giving people the permission to sort of encourage people to move through. Combining offers and needs, that's something we're going to be exploring in our training program that we're putting on next month. So there's more information about that, but essentially it's taking an opportunity for people after they've done this next needs round to select what they want from each of their offers and needs and just take the priorities for one final round. And that's usually when you've got a new group that you're working with in a breakout room a new breakout room or an in-person process where you're with a new group. All right, and yes, someone can be ascribed to document them, but the reality is here you can often draw very quickly through the chat or through a shared Google Sheet. You can also use Post-it notes, and there's wonderful software that allow you to actually take photographs of Post-it notes and put them up into a shared Post-it note board. I know that Dee Brooks, if you're there, if you just put the link to one of your favorite Post-it note scribing software, that would be great. I think it's Mural is one that people really like. Great, we're going to shift over now to the needs round. So Crystal, please take us through that.
So, as everyone knows, it can be very vulnerable to express your needs. And so often after facilitating these in person, people just say, oh my God, I'm so relieved. This big need I was kind of scared to talk about actually, was really great to share with people. And remember too that you can ask for your big blue sky dreams. You never know, even if there's someone not directly in your group or on the call, we're all related to so many other people. So often, I hear someone wanting to be a guest on a podcast show, and then someone said, oh, I know the perfect person. So remember, there's a whole network of people beyond who's in the room with you. So I'll go ahead and share my screen here, and everyone can get ready to go ahead and reflect on your needs after I walk us through this. So this also has 3 categories, just writing down a need, which, as I said, can also be for yourself or for someone else. And it can be things like Spanish lessons, graphic design, just kind of general support or advice on something like navigating the healthcare system, or maybe it's funding or something. So really just get creative with what the need you would like to share here today is. And then we have urgency. Is it something very urgent, semi-urgent, not urgent? Is there a certain date that you need housing by, for instance? You could also put a date in there. And then same qualifier here as last time with the payment. You can set a fixed rate you're willing to pay. Say you're open to barter, negotiable, or if you're seeking it for free. So I'd like to invite everyone to take a minute or so here to silently reflect on just one need that the volunteers here would like to share in this final round. So just a few more seconds, wrapping up that. We'll share in the same format. You'll say your name, the need, the urgency, and the payment. And I'll stop my screen share here. Okay, I'll go ahead and demonstrate it. Does anybody have any questions before we move on here? If you're a participant, feel free to unmute yourself or write it in the chat. I will go ahead and demonstrate this. Same thing as before, just keeping it very brief and then moving on to the next person. So what I'm needing is recommendations for women to be guests on my podcast, which is called Money Wise Women, who focus on economic, social justice, anything around those lines. And that's semi-urgent and it's for free. And so then the next person would go. So let's go ahead and begin the needs market here. We'll start with Jamie. I'll unmute you here. Go ahead. Oh, wait. Okay.
Yep, happy?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Similar to yours, podcast interviews with business owners who are contributing to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. The need is semi-urgent and we're looking for that for free.
Thanks, Jamie. Ollie.
Hey, sure. I am looking for funding for ongoing future studies online learning projects that we run, and that's pretty urgent right now. And because it's funding, we're looking for it for free, but we're happy to barter too.
Great. Thanks, Ollie. Kayala.
All right. So I'm looking for funding. We're looking for funding or in-kind donations of fruit trees and perennial plants to expand the food forest in our community garden. And the urgency is semi-urgent and payments flexible. We do have a nonprofit that we could receive donations for that through.
Just a quick question there, Kiala. Could you just clarify your location, given that's a physical request?
Yeah, so well, that's the version if for the in-kind. Yeah, I'm in the Pacific Northwest, Washington, Southern Washington, White Salmon, Washington.
Great. Thanks, Kayala. Linnea.
I am looking for funding to offer a yoga teacher training in Spanish to my community here in the Denver metro area. And it's not urgent, but I've been wanting to do it for 10 years, so maybe I should be urgent now. And I'm looking for it for free. Free money.
Great. Thanks, Linnea. And Mike.
I'm really not looking for anything at this juncture, just except for the COVID-19 crisis to be over so I can get out and about.
Great. Thank you, Mike. Feel you on that one. Great. Well, as you can all imagine, this would, in your normal meeting, just continue on until people run out of things to say, until everyone's passing. And so also, I have found that people are sparked their creativity by hearing other people's offers and needs. And so this is why often we will do a third round combined of offers and needs where, oh, did anything new come up? Which is kind of a cool feature of this process as well. So if anyone who wanted to share their links here in the chat to anyone for any of those needs, more information, if people want to contact you and support you with that, go ahead and do that. And like we mentioned before, there are other networking options. This is just a demonstration version. Donnie.
Great. Well, let's just give it a quick shot. Let's just see. Did anyone hear? Oh, there we go. We've already got it. I was just going to say, if you heard something, maybe let's just hear of a successful match. Shirley's saying there to Oliver, she's one of the attendees here on the call. She's interested in Portuguese lessons. So there we go. Thumbs up from Ollie on that one. Let's just recap some of the steps that we've covered here in terms of this. And as mentioned, we're going to be sharing all of these steps with you via documentation after this. So I'm going to just bring this up on the screen right now. So you'll see that we've had these 5 sort of broad steps here. There's a welcoming process that involves a bit of an explanation, agenda setting. The running of the offers market, separate to then the running of the needs market. We're going to do this surveying, and it's often nice at the end to sort of do some of the matching and see what the next steps are for people, and then close with appreciation. What I'm going to do now is just show you some of the underpinnings for this so you can get a sense of the complexity that sits under what seems, hopefully, a simple process. There's some parts in this contracted version done today that we've missed out, but you'll see here quite a lot of detail involved in the actual steps involved, and we're going to send you this actual documentation. So if you want to follow things step by step or innovate on the model that we've found over 10 years of doing this works the best, then you'll have that, that model to actually go through it step by step. Speaking of that complexity, the design secrets, it's everything from the power of why we start with offers versus needs, the power of silence, and the importance of bringing in introverts into that space using that technique. We have 12 design secrets that sit underneath the offers and needs markets. There's a whole range of ways that you can deliver this core kernel of offers and needs creatively. It can be done in person, as we mentioned. That's actually where most of Crystal and my experience lies, in running these in groups of even up to hundreds of people at a time at tables with 6 to 8 people, and then rotation between tables so you get a lot of a crossover. You can do this with events, be they virtual or otherwise, and leave notice boards with post-it notes on them so people can actually see the offers and needs market over the period of time. This can be done in small groups like we're doing now virtually. There's lots of ways that you can actually use this method innovatively and build on it throughout the years. We have a training that we're putting on to explore these kinds of things more deeply. That's going to start in April. It's going to be 4 weeks of Crystal and myself, 4 modules looking at how to plan these, how to promote them. We'll be providing marketing materials. We'll be providing training and practice of the facilitation itself, so you can actually get to experience putting one on, and a whole lot of support guests arriving with us. To Noor Ali, an experienced offers and needs market facilitator, as well as Joel Zavlovsky. We're going to now put the survey link over into the chat as we're coming close to the end of our event today. And as with all good facilitation, getting the feedback at the end of the course is always better than waiting until people have left and doing a follow-up. You get a lot more compliance. So we're asking that you go and have a look at that form and fill that in now. And to incentivize that, one person, Crystal and I have a pre-existing number for one of the people who fills in the survey. Will be gaining a free access to our upcoming training, the 4-week training valued at $300. Penelope's asking about the cost of the upcoming training, this masterclass we're putting on. It's $300 with $200 early bird special, and we're going to have scholarships available to anyone who's interested. We've put that in the survey. So we're going to just give a few minutes of silence here for people to fill that survey in. The link is in the chat there. I'm just going to put it one more time. And we'll come back in just a minute to close that out. We'll be just running a couple of minutes over. And one lucky person who's filled in the scholarships, we're getting the data in real time. We're going to announce the scholarship, announce the winner of this competition in just a minute. The currency is going to be in US dollars for the course. So we're going to give everyone just a few minutes of silence and then welcome you all back here to announce the winner, and we'll answer any final questions and then close out. Just a few more seconds while we wrap up there. Thanks for everyone filling that in. Just 15 more seconds and we're going to announce the winner. All right. Crystal, maybe if you're able to remove the panelists, if that's possible. We'll, oh, there we go. Great. Well, thank you, everyone. We're excited to announce the winner. The lucky number was 7. And so the 7th person to fill this in on my list is Victoria Sage. So Victoria, congratulations. You've won a free ticket to our upcoming training. We'll be sending out information to everyone about that in case it's of interest to you. We're super, super grateful to have had everyone on the call today. Thank you so much for your time and for your great questions and for all you do as facilitators, community organizers, people passionate about creating a better world. I want to leave you with one story that really inspired me when I heard it and talks about the power of this, of the marketplace. So cast your mind back to the 1990s and in the fallout of genocide, or in fact throughout the period of genocide with the Hutus, the Tutsis in Rwanda, that really difficult, horrific period of history for that country, for that nation. Throughout this, something unbelievable happened, and it was documented by Harvard researcher Alpha Demelesh. When she was there, she noticed that throughout the genocide, women continued to show up at the marketplace every single week to trade with each other. As crisis was unfolding, as families were torn apart, as challenges continued to rise, women kept showing up at the marketplace. There's a deep power in us convening together and reclaiming the market back from this process that has hollowed us out as individuals and said you're either a producer or you're a consumer, usually putting us into that latter part. And there's something very, very powerful about us saying we are the market, we have the ability to convene. Let's bring each other together in these times of challenge and find ways that we can share our gifts, what we're passionate about, what we've got to share with each other, and inspire that sharing from each other. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We're so delighted to have you here with us. We'll be in touch with all of the follow-up materials. Thank you, Crystal, my co-host, and to everyone who's joined us from around the world and is watching this recording. We're sending our very best wishes during these challenging times, and continue to do the important work you're doing. It's vital, and together we can create the better, more beautiful world that we believe is possible.